Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today I'm here with my friend
Ade.
Huh?
I'm Ade Oshodi,
What do you do?
and I'm a wedding and portrait photographer. And we were out here to do a shoot with a model, and we're sad to say that on her way here, she got into an accident. So we wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about some of the things that we talk about on the phone and
Right.
when we hang out in person. So today we decided that we're going to talk about how we build our
the shot.
Yeah, how we build our
Like,
photographs.
Pretty much how we approach the shot.
Absolutely, and what are the things we're thinking about and so on, and kind of see where it leads.
Okay.
So since you're the owner of the channel and
Okay.
you're the boss, you want to start and tell us
All
how
right.
you do it?
So I like to use flash a lot. So most of the time I'm trying to balance my flash with the ambient. And the ambient light is usually is the sun or whatever light is available, also available light. So I try to use that light as my rim light, and then I use the flash as my main light most of the time because I have more control over the flash. So I would turn the model or couple in such a way that I can achieve that before I even start, testing out my flash power levels and all that.
And so for the newer people on your channel,
Mhm.
can you explain to them and tell them what's a rim light? Can you tell them?
Oh, okay. So, when you take a picture of a person with light coming from only one side,
Mhm.
it flattens the person. It makes the image, very flat.
Mhm.
But the rim light kind of separates the subject from the background, and it produces this feeling of a three-dimensional figure, even though it's just a picture.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So as and you mind if I ask you a couple of questions so we can help the folks out?
Yo,
on the
you
channel
put me
that
on the
watching?
spot, man. We didn't talk about this.
We didn't talk about it. Okay, I apologize.
But go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
apologize.
If I can't answer it, I'll just edit it out.
Okay. You got to leave that in there. You got to leave that in there because you got to let them know that, even though as photographers who've been in the game for a while, we still have struggles, and I think people can identify with that. I don't know. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a saying, I don't know who said it, but it goes like this: the best photographer is the one who knows how to hide bad photos. So we all take bad photos, but
Absolutely.
You call that thing and take out the bad ones.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, I think it's Henry Cartier-Bresson. He said showing your contact sheet is like being in public with your pants down. And I think what he meant by that is that you never show your bad photos. You only show the good ones. So is there anything else you wanted to touch on like how you approach and how you build?
Right. And as I keep growing as a photographer, I pay more attention to the environment, because the environment, you can always use the environment to frame the picture, and that can make or break an image. So those factors are very important. So once I have taken care of that, then the next thing I do is I focus on the model or the couple. If there's any little thing that needs fixed, I fix it. If it's a hair tie that they leave around their wrist, take it off, because those things are, takes time to edit them out.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
ask them to move all the hair this way, that way. Little things that will cost you a lot of time. After you've spent so much time editing, you don't want to do that anymore. So you learn and adapt.
Very
Yeah.
true. And I think it goes back to the old saying of what we talk about all the time: get it right in camera. You get it as close to humanly possible as right in camera. So when you get in front of that computer, there's absolutely less editing.
Right.
So, and anything else you want to talk about, or should I go ahead and share?
Yeah,
how I
go ahead
approach?
and share yours.
So I do a little bit, my style is a little bit different, and it's kind of what they call photojournalism, right? And I put quotes in quotation because sometimes there's things that I'm moving or so forth. Pure photojournalism, you move nothing. So how I'm approaching a photograph for me is that one of the first things I'm doing is I'm looking for the light first. So as you stated, you're looking for the rim light. So I'm looking for wherever the light is coming from. Then I'm adjusting my body to make sure that the light is correctly lighting the subject, the model, whoever I'm documenting, right? And so light is like the number one thing. So, and within photojournalism, moment is super important. And a moment makes or breaks a photograph. But believe it or not, that's actually the last thing I'm looking for. So, and again, as you said,
quick question, right?
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Do you just wait for the moments to happen, or do you orchestrate it? Like, do you play a role in creating those moments?
So there's and I know I may get some critique from this. There's a yes and no answer to that. So 99% of the times within the context of weddings, if I'm doing social documentary, I'm never ever interrupting or sparking that moment, right? But for within the context of wedding, 99% of the times I am never interrupting that moment. I'm never prompting it. But also how I photograph, and specifically in the context of weddings, because I want to make it clear, is that I want them to know that I'm there. I am a photographer. As I was taught, is that a fireman goes to out a fire, you know that he or she is there, a fire person. A teacher is there, so is the photographer. I have a job to do, so I want to know that I'm there. So to answer your question, long story long, is that I'm never really prompting those moments. I'm simply just waiting for that moment to happen.
And that's when it's very natural.
And it's extremely natural. And I believe in moments because I believe that all humans have emotions, and those photographs show those emotions. So I'm thinking of in terms of like long-term, family, children. How can they see how the subject looked and functioned within that moment? So that's how I'm approaching it. So, and then there's the second part that you talked about, to piggyback off your argument, is that you're looking at the background. I'm looking at the background, which I would boil down to my composition. So I'm looking for the light first, I'm finding my composition, and then I'm waiting for that moment to happen.
All right, so let's talk about gas.
Gear acquisition syndrome.
Yes, gear acquisition syndrome. Sorry, I just assume everybody knows that.
Right.
So that's when you order things online and it comes in the mail and you hide it from your wife and you stick it under the bed. Yeah.
Right.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. So gear acquisition syndrome.
Yes.
I think for photographers, when we first start, that becomes the thing, right? Like, I always wanted the new thing. But I'll share a secret with you, and this is just between me and the channel. Don't tell anybody this. I buy all my professional equipment at this point in time in my career used. I shoot with two D750s, and they are both used cameras. And I will run them into the ground until they die. I don't need the newest lens. I don't need the newest lights. And don't get me wrong, gear does make a difference in some respects. It's very difficult to do the job of a hammer with a spanner, right? So if you have a camera with all these fancy gadgets, it may make your life easier. But do you need it? No. I saw online recently an article that said, you have a better camera than Ansel Adams. And that's true. And he made amazing photographs, and he's considered a master. So use what you have.
I saw a photographer who shared a picture of his that was on a billboard. That picture was only 2 megapixels when he took that picture. It's on a billboard, okay? And today the iPhone even has, a lot more than that. And then, like he said about gear acquisition syndrome, the right tool for the right job. So for me, I also have the D750, but then last year I started doing wedding videos and I realized that focusing was really hard. So I realized that I could use some facial tracking and stuff, because sometimes I'm actually shooting hybrid. I'm shooting both photo and video on the same day.
That's awesome.
So
you gotta teach me how to do
that. That's hard. Like I wouldn't advise my worst enemy to do it. But if you have a good videographer, then you can focus on photography, or vice versa. So I almost got a Sony because of the focus and stuff for video.
Mm-hmm.
And then I waited a little longer, and then the Z6 came out. So the Z6 came and played a very vital role for me
In what you do, in
Right.
terms of
right. And then when my wife even used it the first time, I had to get a second one because
Now, you mentioned your wife. Your wife actually shoots with you.
yes, my wife shoots with me. She's my second shooter a lot of the time.
Yeah. So, and that's another, and we can go on so many topics to
Right.
go off. And that's another thing. His wife shoots with him. So, they have that communication because they're around each other every day. So they kind of know how to communicate with each other.
Right. Yeah. So when she picked up the Z6, but then when she was using the Z6, she realized that she could see the final image before she snapped, so she didn't have to be chimping, which is
Right.
looking at the back of the screen, and that she could even scroll through her pictures while her eye was to the camera, so people would not see her looking at the back of her screen. So for her, that was just a game changer for her.
Nice.
So I had to get a second one for myself because she wouldn't let go of that one. So that's what happened there. And I'm pretty satisfied with the Z6s. I mean, I wish they had 2 card slots, but
Mhm.
I'm not too worried about that just yet. So yeah, just hoping for the best.
Indeed. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So it's really cold out here. My eyes are watery, cold. I don't have gloves on, and I wore shorts today because it was a little warm in the afternoon, so I thought it was gonna be warm. So thank you guys for watching, and I think we should have a day here again, and we talk about more stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right.